The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, how we doing? I'm back on my own. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Just thought we might on a Thursday night now do T.N.F, the Thursday night forum. I don't know if I'm speaking with an echo or not. I've got my microphone, like my headphones plugged in to my microphone, if that makes sense. This is what I used to do right at the start, all those 4 months ago. But aye, so if there's any audio problems, because I've not got a guest with me, I need the comments coming in to let me know. That is essential. How we all doing? I hope you are all doing good. Some great points getting raised already. Tonight, it's a complete free-for-all. I'm going to field the questions. And it's going to be a case of basically you putting the points to me. I'll try and address them the best I possibly can. And then if you've got further debating points to put in the comments, we'll maybe expand on one of the talking points that gets raised. It'll be good fun, man. And then maybe if this works, the T.N.F will start, we will start bringing other bus passengers, part of the team, whatever you want to call it now, because it is growing. The Bhoycie bus is growing. And we might bring on some of the faces that you've seen before and Double Doon Show and things like that. And we'll do maybe a couple of guests on it. But it'll still all be led by the viewers, because I want that show still to be key. I think the Monday Club, Jonathan, oh God, I hate saying this, but in fairness to the wee bastard, he's brought that much to the table that I think the debate with me and him, whilst obviously still bringing comments in, and we're still bringing far more than any other site, but whilst doing that, we're probably doing less than what the Monday Club initially was. So I reckon now we go Thursday night forum. Even if there's other folk on, it'll be about what the viewers want to discuss and putting it to us. Tonight, I just thought I would trial run it on my own. Now, we are, as always, delighted to be sponsored by fanboyfootball.com. What a partnership we have had with them. Obviously, I don't know if you're aware. You might not be. You might be. But there are some T-shirts out there that are, I think, doing pretty well. We've seen Sean's on Facebook, got a lot of traction in the bucket hat with the Celtic scarf with a white Bhoycie bus t-shirt on. And then there was Alex Forsyth on Twitter yesterday, and he was modelling it. I think it was on his way to the game, and he had the Bhoycie bus t-shirt on. But there they are, the top three up there. Up there, I can't really point to them for you. What way is it? It's difficult when your reflections like mirrored. But yes, if you're interested in the merch, so 20 quid. I've covered the postage. It's 20 quid flat rate. Best quality material we could possibly get from fanboyfootball.com as well, which is top notch. The reviews have been outstanding. We've sold way more than I thought we would. But if you're interested in any of that, then fanboyfootball.com, where they've also got loads of custom prints, their own designs for t-shirts as well. So do check it out. Now, T.N.F. is all now over to you. Have I got anything else to say at the start? Yes, we're back for the Double Down show tomorrow. Paul McFarlane, regular on the bus. We all know Paul very well. He's a bit of a legend, let's be honest. In the comments, he's always promoting the bus, and really looking forward to speaking with him tomorrow night. That's going to be great fun. And he's coming on the Double Down show. We're going to obviously talk more things Celtic, preview the weekend. Of course, he's got the quiz to do at the end, ladies and gentlemen. And then at the weekend, it's going to be very interesting because obviously, Regan's got his own show on a Sunday now. R&R Sundays, a Sunday blether, Sunday Celtic blether with Regan Stevenson. I know he's up to his eyeballs. You know what now? I'm hoping he's going to be all right to do Sunday because I'm out. I'm going out for an epic all-day game of pool with my mate. I've not seen him since before lockdown. He's a good sparring partner at the pool, shall we say. He's never beat me yet, but it's very, very much good fun. And I'm going to play pool with him all day. Obviously, I'll be watching the Celtic game as well. But so Sunday might be, I'm trying to put the pressure on Jonathan to do the hosting, which could be cool. So anyway, let's get to it. Now, there's so many comments coming in. It's unbelievable. Pato comes straight in with the curveball. See, this is when I don't know if I'm getting wound, like, as a wind-up or not, right? Pato, Bhoycie, I've been contacted by an Iranian female filmmaker who does short football films. I've given her a link to the bus. Would you like to talk to her about matters Celtic? Of course. I have already been on, I don't know if you remember. In fact, it's not like if you remember, who cares? It wasn't a big deal, but it was like TV in Egypt or something. Where was it? I can't even remember what country it was in. But I don't know. I've not. The sports channel had like 90,000 subscribers on YouTube. I wake up probably hungover to this like DM inviting me on the show to talk about Liverpool against Norwich or something. I was like, what? I did it but they made me brush my hair. I wasn't happy about that. But yes, if you want me involved in that, mate, of course I'll do it, mate. Anything in front of that camera, you know it, mate. I'm game. I was born for this shit. Bhoycie is big in Iran. Pato, it's not a wind-up. Well, I'm glad you gave them the link, mate. Of course I'll talk to them. You know that, mate. I would never let you down, pal. I mean, I don't think there's one, if there's been a Celtic pod that's ever asked me to go on, I always say I can do it if I'm free. I know Endless Celts. I feel bad because I was meant to go on them like a month ago. And then I had to pull out because we were doing the Monday show on a Tuesday, funnily enough. So that was, it was kind of on me a wee bit. But anyway, let's get into the talking points because we need to have a wee chat about injuries. We'll start with that. Now, there's a couple of comments coming in right now. David Kelly, regular contributor. Good to have you on, mate. And he's saying, is Juranovic out for the season? Right now, we're told it's weeks. Weeks, though, is all we've got till the end of the season. So it's not quite clear cut. I know a lot of people are fretting about it. I've got to be completely honest. I feel right back is the position that Ange has kind of more sorted than many others. Whereas what I mean by that is if one comes out, the one who steps in, I think brings plenty to the table as well. And that's credit first and foremost to Celtic, Ange Postecoglou and the coaching staff or whatever for turning Ralston into for me, a first team player. I'm not as concerned if that were to be the case. Now, I know, obviously, the game at Celtic Park and a week on Sunday, people will think, well, Juranovic is a big miss for that. I get that. I also think Ralston brings a lot of qualities that Celtic were perhaps missing a wee bit. If I may be so bold as to say, on Sunday just past. Now, we need to remember, sometimes in Scottish football, you need to fight fire with fire. Now, we can obviously, Bobby Madden's had a shocker. That's fine. We can put that to one side, though. Rangers applied a tactic that was, they're going to be better than football at us. We're going to rough them up and see how far we can push it. Now, I didn't feel Celtic rose to that physical battle enough. Giakoumakis, of course, talking of injuries. What a miss he is. Will he be back Sunday again? Crucial that he is, and fingers crossed he will be. Ange did say before the Cup semi, he expected him to be fit for the next weekend. So we're counting on that, because I think he's a huge player right now. I think he's as important as anyone, in fact, between now and, securing that title. But with regards to Juranovic, I would have started Ralston in the next two games anyway. I know that Juranovic had a very good game against Rangers, particularly in the 3-0 win at Celtic Park. But again, I just think it would be good to have that wee bit more dig in the team, that bit more bite. Obviously, you can't exchange, bite for quality, and I get that. And I don't think Celtic are wanting to go down a road now where, we just buy players for, guts and blood and thunder and all that shite. But I do think there's a balance you need to have sometimes. And I really do believe that, David Kelly obviously is the one asking about Juranovic. Now he's now actually saying he's not bothered. We've got the second best right back in the league as well. I mean, I think Ralston's numbers are excellent this season. And I think, he does suit Dingwall better than Juranovic for Dingwall. And perhaps on the back of what we've seen at Hampden, he might actually suit the game against Rangers a wee bit better as well. It's not a dig, by the way, at Juranovic. It's genuinely not. And of course, John Duncan, another regular viewer, good to have you on the bus. And he's saying, Ralston scored one of the most important goals so far. Last time we were in Dingwall, funnily enough. I think he might have started anyway, if both were fit. That's my honest opinion. Connor's asking a very good question. I don't know how aware people are of this, or if they are unaware. Have Celtic started with the exact same team that beat them 3-0 since that game? I would have thought so. I don't have it to hand, though. And there's a lot of people better than that sort of stats than me. So if anyone does know, I'm not entirely sure. It is a blow, though, because right now, obviously, then you're looking at Ralston going, well, you really can't afford to get injured. Now, I don't like singling people out for criticism in an overly negative way. What your eyes don't lie. It's a brilliant quote. I think I stole that for Tony Haggerty, to be honest. But your eyes don't lie. And Stephen Welsh looked a lost puppy at right back at Hampden. We can't really afford that to be your other option if Ralston were to get injured. So him staying fit now, Ralston, between now and the end of the season is absolutely crucial. But having said that, a lot of love coming in for Ralston. Joe P there, good to have you on. Hope you're well. I mean, for all it's brilliant that I think we've got two very capable right backs. Once you lose one, you start panicking and think you might lose the other. Let's be honest, we've seen it up front. No Kyogo, you're hanging your hat on Giakoumakis. No Giakoumakis, game's a bogey. So, I'm not saying that overly negatively either. Just for me, we need another option up front, up top as well. And it would be panic merchants. It would be panicking, sorry. We would be panic merchants. I think I tried to say that. We would be panic merchants if there were to be an injury to Ralston also. But whilst Ralston's completely fit, and let's be honest, not going to be suffering from any sort of fatigue. I know Celtic's schedule hasn't been as busy the past few weeks anyway, but he's also not featured as much as maybe some of the other first-team regulars. like a McGregor, a CCV, etc. So I think Ralston is primed to play a big part in the running. I'm actually quite positive about his involvement on Sunday and going forward. Yes, it'd be nice though if Juranovic doesn't end up out for the rest of the season. We always want that competition for places, and of course that safety net that if one isn't playing well or one gets injured, you've got the other one to call upon, which, when we flip it, is exactly what we've got right now. Juranovic gets injured and we've got quality to come in and replace him. I think that's what Ange will be looking for across the team come the summer. Replace some of the quantity with quality. It's an overused phrase, but it is the absolute truth. John Duncan, Bhoycie. You know it, mate. Good to have you on. Right. What else do we want to talk about? Conor McCann comes in. He's been on the bus before. We'll definitely have Conor on for whether it be a T.N.F, a Sunday Blether, another post-match pitch. Really looking forward. Conor's had some great input on the channel so far. Good to have you in the comments, mate. And he's saying his worry about is Greg Taylor. He seems to be going through a mini burnout. Few games lately, he's been off early doors. With JG now out, we can't really afford that, as Sunday has proved. Well, Taylor's a funny one. I don't know. I mean, I think you'd feel a hell of a lot better if more faith had been shown in like Liam Scales over the course of the season. Liam Scales, remember, was a summer transfer buy, not a January one, yet he's featured less than most of the January incomings that Celtic had, which is quite frightening. I do believe that the left back area is a position Ange will look to strengthen in the summer. It would certainly be one I would. But I think, you're saying the mini burnout. I actually thought he had one of his best games for Celtic at Ibrox, if I'm totally honest. I thought Celtic looked a bit leggy in general at Hampden. I take a point that we definitely don't want it to become no Taylor, or if he was to be feeling a burnout like you suspect, Conor, and by the way, you could be right. I definitely think that would be concerning, because I don't believe the manager has much faith in Liam Scales. This is a manager that played Bola goalie. Twice he started him this season, He's now not even at the training setup. The red Baron comes in with it. Some of my best mates are Rangers supporters. I'm not going to, hide away for that. So, Red Baron's always fair. Well, and he has a bit of a nibble here and there, but who doesn't? He says, what do you Celtic fans think about going from KT to Taylor? Now, I feel Greg Taylor's form for Steve Clarke's Kilmarnock suggested he would be a very affordable, not replacement to start every first team game, but I thought you'd pay $2 million for Taylor, and then Bolingoli, I think he cost $3 million, but I expected Bolingoli to be of a standard much, much higher, and that Greg Taylor was the one Celtic were going to work on, improve, and eventually push the big money, if you like, left back we did to replace him. Now, there's a very interesting thought process behind it, Red Baron. Now, I'm actually glad you brought up the point, because this actually gets you down to the nitty-gritty with Celtic signing policy at times. Now, when you actually take it into account, Kieran Tierney was sold for $25 million. Within 2.5 years, he's now been linked to Real Madrid, 50s, 60s million sort of pound mark. Now, that's all well and good. We know the price is going to inflate if they do remotely well in the English Premiership. I get that. But what frustrates me is, see, when we sell a player for £25 million, let's talk. We hear this all the time, guys. We hear this all the time. The Ajax model we should be trying to replicate. Well, here's a home truth. When Ajax sell a player for £25 million, chances are they'll replace them for someone of £10 million quality. Not saying that necessarily has to be the price, but it'll be of that ilk. £10 million quality, and turn them into a £25, £30 million player. Celtic absolutely shat their pants when they sold Tierney, in my opinion, and tried to go in the halfway house and buy Scotland's most promising youngster and buy a guy they thought might do well because he did a Belgian call-up, albeit uncapped, in Bolingoli. And it didn't work. because neither of them were close to the standard of Kieran Tierney. Whereas for me, you sell a guy for 25 million, and I'm not saying it's all about money, but they should be targeting higher profile, more established left backs than the two that they did choose. Albeit, as I've already said, the Greg Taylor one's fine at 2.5 million. For me, that should be your backup sort of fee. That sort of ballpark. Celtic's huge club now. 2022. 2.5 million we were paying for Alan Thompson in the year 2000. 2022. That shouldn't really be what you're looking for if your club's evolved over the last 22 years as a first team sort of fee. It's weird. And I know it's not all about money. But I do feel that the replacements brought in was pretty adequate, in my opinion. I really do. And I think we should have been able to have aimed our sights a bit higher than who we got in to replace him. And I don't want to blame that all on Taylor, by the way. I think, as I say, there would have been a place for Taylor still to have came in that summer, but I think with a higher profile and just a far better quality left back as first choice, which I think was the idea with Bolingoli. It's just he was a cheap option at £3 million. And I don't think that's fair on the fans. I just feel when you sell a player for 25 million, you have to reinvest that a wee bit bolder. You have to branch out a wee bit that more, and it will keep evolving that way, you know? But anyway, that's just my take on that. I mean, it's not, as I say, all about money. I could also add as well, comparing Greg Taylor and Kieran Tierney, I think a few comments are coming in. Kieran Tierney, I agree, is a one-off talent. It is a generational thing. But that doesn't change the point. Celtic doesn't stop because of that and go, oh, well, we can't have as good a left back again. Get the best option. Reinvest that 25 million. And I'm not quite convinced we did enough of that. Anyway, that's the fullbacks covered tonight. We're 22 minutes in already, and we've been covering fullbacks. Let me see if there's any other random points coming in that anyone wants to discuss. There's an interesting one. Pato comes in. He feels Jota's head is elsewhere. I'm going to have a drink here because my throat's drying up. I forgot what it was like doing this just on your own. Forgive me. Right. Sorry about that. Always better with a bit of Stella. I'm off tomorrow. Many reasons for that, but I'm off. Now, Jota, his performance, I didn't feel. I think people are joining 2 and 2 together very quickly on it. But there's a couple of narratives that we could discuss with it, of course. Did he have a great game? No. Did he stop trying? I wouldn't say so. Did he make some wasteful decisions on the ball? Yes, he did. Does it mean he's checked out? I'm not sure that when you go into an environment like that where there's half Celtic fans, half Rangers fans at Hampden in a cup semi-final, and you walk out on that pitch, no matter who you are, you're sitting there thinking about, oh, well, I can't wait till I move to fucking Fulham in the summer or go back to Benfica. I just don't think that's going on in your heads, really. However, let's play devil's advocate with that. I think his form has dipped, okay? I think his form has definitely dipped. Now, my concern with that would be, is it because he knows that he's not going to be at Celtic next year and perhaps his enthusiasm for the cause subconsciously, as I say, I can't, like, you can't walk out to that ground and go, I've checked out, mate, at Hampden, when there's that atmosphere, that at stake. I don't think you couldn't be a human being, you know, it's just weird. It doesn't make sense. But when you look at his form over a period of time now, it would be fair to say it's dipped. What are the reasons? What are the mitigating factors in that? My guess would be, well, no, it's so easy to sit and go, we've got first option on him, so, it's up to Celtic to get him. That doesn't stop an agent ringing Jota's agent and going, just tell him to turn that down. He's come to the English Premier League. or just tell him to turn that down. He's coming to La Liga. We'll offer him double what they can. These conversations can all still happen. This is basic standard football. It's went on for years. You know, the concreteness, if you like, of Celtic having first option is actually built on sand. It's just a really good label to put on it that made us all feel better about the loan signings than what we had in the past, because we never had first option to buy. But first option to buy just means a fee's been agreed with the clubs prior to that. The player still holds the aces the same way they always do, right? It's as simple as that. You know, you could have said Craig Bellamy we had first option on. It made no odds. If the guy doesn't want to sign for Celtic, he's not going to sign for Celtic. It's that simple. So, yes, there has to be a consideration that perhaps the reason his form isn't what it was, that maybe he doesn't see his long-term future at Celtic. And if not, do you know what? Good luck to him. But we have seen many a time players as good as Jota, not as good as Jota, better than Jota, come here and think instantly the grass is greener. Well, I would always invite players like Jota. And by the way, I feel harsher because none of us actually know. We're speculating. He might just be having a dip in form because wingers do that, right? You know, that might be actually just the case. But let's go with it. We'll run with the narrative that he's checked out for now, okay? I'm not saying that's definitive. But let's say he's checked out. If he's checked out, I would be reminding him, why were you at Celtic in the first place? You're 23 years old, at your hometown club, right? In a league that's outside the top 5, right? And you couldn't get a game. Couldn't get on the bench. You were loaned to a Scottish club, right? Now, that for me would remind you, maybe Celtic's built your profile. Maybe Celtic's been a good fit for you. Maybe it's time to get your head back in the game at Celtic. See what you can achieve over the next couple of years. Look at the track record of some of the better players than you that have had incredible careers, both at Celtic and then at, I wouldn't say bigger clubs, but bigger leagues in terms of Van Dijk. Look at, okay, Liverpool, fair dues, but he went to Southampton, but he did 2 years at Celtic, you know. You look at Kieran Tierney, we were talking about earlier, he's now went straight to a top 6 club in England from Celtic. And is now being linked with Real Madrid and things like that. But you have to put the hours in. You have to put the graft in. You can't just show up for 2 minutes at Celtic Park, you know, and impress everyone, get the supporters to fall in love, and then think that, oh, do you know what? The bright lights of a bigger league are enticing me, because there's always the other examples. Paddy Roberts doesn't want to end up like him, does he? And people can say all they want that, oh, Jota would never end up like Paddy Roberts. I'm sorry. I would have told you 5 years ago Paddy Roberts would never end up like Paddy Roberts' career has. I would have laughed at you if you thought that. You know? Absolutely laughed at you. It still frustrates me now. He didn't buy in to signing for us permanently, or if we didn't offer the right money, whatever it is, because there was a good match there. And I do believe he would have went on to going back to the EPL and the further experience he had at Celtic as he developed as a player. Jota very much could end up like that. There's two sides to it. But let's say he's not checked out. I feel then, if he's not checked out at all, we've jumped to conclusions on it. And Jota is a winger. They can be temperamental. Now, you look at his performance, you know, when he scored that winning goal at Pittodrie. When was that? February? You know, when we went for 2-0 to 2-2, he made it 3-2 straight up the other end of the park. Big contribution. He had a good game against Rangers at Celtic Park as well. Now, it's so easy to think, but you know, this is his first year here. There's going to be ups and downs. He's never played out of Portugal, I don't think, before. Certainly not in a place like Scotland. And I think in European football as well, by the way. Terry Robb comes in and says he was getting judged in a handful of games at the start of the season. You know, if he'd played great every week, we probably wouldn't have got him on loan to start with. Well, that's true. That's true. And I think as well, the handful of games thing, Jota did a bloody good job for us in Europe as well. He was a brilliant player in Europe for us. And when I thought was a Celtic side that struggled at times in Europe. So I would have to be honest and say, for me, Jota's showing more than enough that if he was signed in a permanent contract, I would be delighted, right? I would be delighted because it would mean he's committed his future to us. We know what we're working with, and it erases any doubt that this guy's checked out, and it gets rid of that excuse. And then we can start focusing on, well, why is he not playing so well? Do you know? And maybe then you can look at the rest of the team, you can look at management and go, well, why are they not getting the best out of this guy? Right now, the unfortunate thing with loans is it hangs over their head. See, the 1st of January, we were all talking about why don't we just sign CCV and Jota permanent deals right now? That conversation seems to have stopped. The CCV one's still ongoing, but that's the way I see it. Is, you know, it's so up and down. I think that's very common with wingers as well. I don't want to bash Jota too much. I think it's interesting, the two narratives that we've discussed. Scott Cameron's thinking on a practical level here about the actual team no selection. Now, whether it be checked out, checked in, do the whole check-in and you check them out, that's what it's all about. I mean, would I drop Jota at the weekend on play Maeda, Chaos and Kyogo? I am very, very, very doubtful Kyogo's ready to start. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see enough of him on Sunday. I mean, it wasn't a great display on Sunday. Let's be completely frank about it. It wasn't. Kyogo's been out for months. And would he be ready to come in, start the game up top? And could hang his hat on him. For me, Chaos has to play if he's fit. Maeda has to play if he's fit. And then the other position, I think ideally Kyogo would be that guy. As I've said many a time, I think it suits Ange's press to have Kyogo and Maeda with focal point of Giakoumakis. I think that's Ange's dream front three, if I'm completely honest. Now, is Kyogo though fit enough to play? That's another conversation, isn't it? What did you guys think? Did you think he looked up to it to start at Dingwall? I'm not sure. Yeah, Maeda on the left. Dahalo comes in and says, yes, mate. Good to have you on, by the way. And I agree. Maeda would be on the left. It'd be Kyogo on the right. And Kyogo cutting in that left foot could cause havoc. You know, like Scott Sinclair used to do from the left onto his right foot, open the body, curl him into the far corner. Love that. I nearly said open his legs there. I'm only kidding. But I think, you know, Kyogo could have that effect where he scores 25 goals a season cutting in for the right. I've got no doubts about that. Maeda's already proven he's going to chip in goals from the left. Giakoumakis up top, 100% is going to score you a fully fit. Imagine if he started 40 games, 45 games next year. 30 goals? Don't think that's unrealistic. So I think it's the dream front three, Scott. But Conor McCann comes in, flips it. He looked weeks away, to be honest. I felt that a wee bit as well, but I don't know if we're overreacting as well, Conor, just because it was a shite result and Celtic didn't play very well. I wonder. Ange will know the answers to that best, and we know he will keep them very close to his chest. Paul McFarlane comes in, and that will be, Paul, an unpopular opinion from the vibes I'm getting across the fan base right now, that James Forrest starts on the right. I'm sure we've all seen the footage of Bhoycie, you know, in his second 120-minute appearance in 4 days, sprinting down the left for Rangers, and James Forrest trying to keep up, who'd literally been on the park, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. It was painful to watch that. And I'm not sure James Forrest is ever going to get back. It's been 2 seasons now, basically. He's not really had an impact in the team at all. I'm not sure he's a guy we can hang a hat on. I also feel the fans will turn on James Forrest quicker than others, Paul. And I'm glad that you're not, because I respect that. But my heart tells me James Forrest, I don't like saying this, but I think he could be in his last season at Celtic, you know. Right. Oh, in comes David Kelly. That Nostradamus thing gets you in trouble, David, I'll tell you. Well, I know all about it, mate. I told you all in January Giakoumakis would be a hero coming into the season. You know you did, mate, because so did the bus. We all did on this bus. We absolutely did. And he is a hero. And we desperately missed him at the weekend. Now, sorry, I was going to raise the point there. Let's go back to the comments. Phil McGinley came in and he had one which I want to bring up. It was ages ago. There you go. Phil McGinley, Bhoycie. Yes, mate. I thought the middle of the park was one of the areas we were well covered going into the summer. But after last Sunday, I think we need a physical force now, not named Beaton. What's your thoughts? Well, funnily enough, Danielle F has commented right below that, a completely separate point. But Danielle raised this with me on Sunday or Monday, and we had a wee chat about it because we were sort of like, what is the story there in midfield? Did we lack the bite? Can Celtic go fire by fire, fight fire by fire with Rangers when they play that way? Now, remember, we were led to believe that going into the game at Celtic Park, we'd ran scared of that 4 weeks before. They were going to scalp us because we hadn't won in 200 years or something against them. And what turned out was Celtic completely, in a footballing sense, took Rangers to hell and back, particularly in that first half. What we've seen on Sunday undoubtedly told me that the reason I don't feel Neil Beaton makes as much of a difference. Everyone can talk about balance and all this bullshit all they want, but he doesn't fight fire with fire the same way. Let's say Wanyama, right? Like Wanyama could. Wanyama had all the technical ability that Ange would be looking for as well. I don't mean now. I'm sure his race is run, he's in MLS enjoying the sun. That's cool. But Wanyama, when he was at Celtic, was technically an excellent player, but he also brought real steel at the midfield. Hard. You know what I mean? Hard as a coffin nail. Up for the challenge, up for the tackles. Had a bit of aggression about him, which I think maybe this team lacks a wee bit, if I'm honest. I certainly think, like I was touching on with Ralston earlier on in the broadcast, I think Ralston coming in gives us that wee bit of dig. And I know football's more complicated than that, or people want to make it more complicated than that, shall I say, at times. But I do believe you're right, Phil. We need someone in that midfield. I'm not sure if Ideguchi is going to be that guy. Ideguchi looks slight, in my opinion, but we're led to believe he comes in as a holding midfielder. I think it's very interesting how little he's featured so far, despite being the only one with experience of in the UK before. It's an interesting one. But I do believe we need a wee bit more. Nice name, mate. We do need a bit more dig in the midfield. Now, that might not sound like an typical Ange sort of signing. I'm not convinced that Ange doesn't have different profiles. I think Giakoumakis proves that Ange isn't all going to be about small technical players that are 100 mile an hour. Yes, I think he wants the focus of the team to be one that plays with a huge intensity, crazy pace, but players that are more physical can still play with proper intensity, that can happen. I also wouldn't be against Celtic. I know, sounds like James McCarthy, 31 years old, loads of experience, play the whole midfielder, has a bit of bite. It's not worked out. He's not an Ange type of player. But I wouldn't be against us signing someone with a wee bit more experience in the summer. I think it could be quite crucial that we sign someone late 20s, early 30s. Everyone in that team, other than like Callum McGregor and Joe Hart, feel to me very young. Am I missing anyone? I know Forrest has barely played. He's about 30. But in general, it feels like it's quite a young side. And maybe that balance of a bit of experience, bit of dig, wouldn't go amiss. Does the midfield need to bulk up and be more up for that battle? If players are going to get away with, a million fouls like Lundstrom did at the weekend, I would agree that we do need players in that mould that can give a bit back, and it'll take more than photos of just Rio pushing Lundstrom away with his head down. How that's went viral, I'll never know. It's a shite photo. His head's down, he's not looking at him, he's pushing him. Who cares? It's nothing. You know, you want to see, you need to have folk who can go with the chin up, right, and look at Lundstrom in the eye and tell him that'll be your last one, son. And give him one back. Because the referee's in no man's land. That was the thing. Madden was in no man's land on Sunday if the same had happened to Lundstrom. No man's land. He couldn't even have known what to do. Celtic couldn't give that back. They didn't have that profile of player. Right. What else do we want to talk about? Tosh de Cogley comes in. I've missed the bus. I'm going to rewind it back to the start. There's 76 watching live right now. Thank you to you all. Do me a favour. 3, 2, 1. Hit the like button because it gets it spreading across YouTube. And, you know, sometimes we hit over 100. We have hit over 500 once live, you know, so you never know. But if you can do me a favour and hit the like button just now, and if you've not subscribed, please feel free to hit subscribe, turn the notifications on, and you won't miss a show. I don't blame you if you don't put the notifications on. Christ, I don't even put the notifications on. Hey, there comes Regan Stevenson, the boy himself. Yes, mate. Right, what else can we talk about? Shall I bring up some points about the physical part? Let's have a look. Kevin 14 says Gucci is a tough tackling dynamo. Number 8 who can play number 6. Sounds good. Let's hope so. Not seen enough. Gary Barnes, good to have you on, mate. Welcome aboard the bus. He totally agrees. He says, I still don't think we've seen Angie's ideal team. Absolutely not. Ideguchi has more caps for Japan than Hatate. I totally get it. Strange. Do you know what I mean? Even with facts like that, that furthers my argument. I feel it's odd that he's played such a little part so far. You know what I mean? Gucci did seem like he was going to be part of the plans before his injury. Since being back available, I think he's literally played about 4 minutes. Yes, Pato comes in. He's got another talking point. Do we want to go down that road talking about Neil Lennon? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, do we? I've not even watched the interview. I'm not going to bother. Thank you, though, Pato. I think Neil Lennon has had enough traction, if you like, talking about last season. I know he's talking about player, you know, former ex-teammates stabbing him in the front, not even the back. But is that not the whole point? People are literally doing the stabbing right in front of you. Trust me, getting stabbed in the back ain't all that nice. Let's have a wee look here. Right, Brian Gold comes in. Yes, Brian. Bring up Rio Hatate saying he's running on empty. Yeah, he said he was emotionally and physically exhausted. Obviously, he's moved to a new, not just a new country, a new continent, you know, a completely different culture, different climate, different surroundings, different pressures. On the back of a full title-winning J-League season, he started with a bang. And I wonder if Hatate's start at Celtic has almost made him overly scrutinised already because he started so well. Do you know that? I wonder. Because I do believe that when you look at Hatate's form, I didn't get a great game on Sunday, but I didn't feel like every single thing he did was because he was tired, you know? It's like that old argument whenever Scott Brown had a shite game in the last 6 years, it was because he was over 30. No one looked at it with a proper lens and just like critiqued his performance and why he was shite. It was always the narrative of he's past it, that's him, he's done, he's finished. Just which is lazy arguments, really. And I feel like he's now getting this, well, he played a full season in the J-League, that's why he didn't play well. Maybe there's mitigating factors why he didn't play well. But what is interesting is for him to come out and say, this is how I feel. But let's spin it as well. He also says, I am more than willing to give my all between now and then to the end of the season. He's not looking for a rest. He's not looking for a break. He wasn't saying that. I actually feel the interviews painted him, or the narrative by the Scottish media is actually turning it into he's went crying to his Japanese journalist about how overworked he is. And I don't think That's what he's saying. I actually think the quotations, when you read them, translated by the one and only Dan Orlovich, I'm sure whoever did that interview will be delighted that he tweeted the full thing out from his own page when it had fuck all to do with him. Nice one, Dan. But I think Hatate was just given a refreshingly honest interview, and was actually, it's getting flipped on him. It's getting turned on him a wee bit, like he was crying for his ma. And I don't think that's quite what it was. I think what he was doing was just saying, aye, you're right. I'm absolutely fucked. Right? I am. It's catching up with me. But I'm loving the challenge and I don't want to stop till we've won the title. I just feel it's being, do you know what I mean? Turned into this, a negative, where I don't quite think it is an interview of bleating and moaning. I do believe as well we're to see the best of Hatate in a Celtic shirt. I think we've seen glimpses so far, but I think he'll definitely be someone we will be able to hang a hat on next year as one of the mainstays on the side. I'm quite confident, I'm quite convinced of that, to be honest with you. Mentally and emotionally drained, says Kevin 14. It's been a roller coaster few months. Totally agree with that. Danielle is right. What you are right. It was an interview. It was his diary, wasn't it? Sorry, I just can't wait to have a pop at Dan Orlovich, Danielle. But yes, you keep me right. You're spot on. But yeah, I just feel that Hatate's forms, he's been a bit up and down. He's acclimatising. He's had a hell of a lot more, though, highlights than low points, you would have to say. I don't think Celtic's had any bad result because of Hatate. I think we've had good results where he's played a huge part in it. Tynecastle, the home game against Rangers, comes straight to mind like that. Who can forget that goal at Tynecastle? We were doing a fan cam live, and I could not believe the power he hit that shot at. It was frightening. And I do believe he'll come back. David Kelly disagrees, which is absolutely fine. He feels he's been brutal since then. I think that's harsh, David, mate. If he's tired or jaded, then the manager has to rest or drop him, which is fair. I mean, that's on Ange. He sees them up close every week in training. He'll decide who's got the intensity, who's got the fitness levels to play. I think to say he's been brutal since then, I don't subscribe to that. If I'm honest, I'm not quite sure it's been as bad as you're making out, if I'm honest. Let's talk about something else. What else have we got? In comes Regan, the main man. He wants to know, do we think James McCarthy will get game time before the end of the season? If so, the honest truth is I think it'll be sparingly. I'm not convinced that McCarthy's... I don't know. I'm not convinced he's a... I've already said, I don't like Ange Postecoglou signed him. People don't like you saying that because they want to say, oh, how dare you question Ange's involvement in all this? He's in control. I'm not... I disagree. I think he needed players in. Yes, would it have been flagged to him? Look, James McCarthy, do you know him? Ange probably did. Know of him. I don't mean know him personally. Yeah, I know of him. He's available on a free. Sign him. We need bodies. Right. I don't know. Ange just went, oh, please, guys, get me James McCarthy. That's where the difference is. And I think Ange's use of him, a guy in a 4-year contract, right, in his 30s, probably on a healthy 20 grand a week, for him not to be playing very often, yeah, I'm not quite sure. Now, James McCarthy's involvement between now and the end of the season and normally would be quite important, in my opinion. But I don't see, because that experience, know-how, etc. But I don't think he's played enough. I think he's always going to look rusty when he's playing, because of the lack of involvement he's had through the season. I think he's just going to get accused of slowing everything down, even if that's what he's brought on to do. I'm not sure where I see a future for James McCarthy in the team, Regan. It would be great to have seen him play a part this year. I was quite enthused by his signing, to be honest with you, but what the fuck do I know? Scott Cameron and McCarthy will get game time after the league has been won, which may well be true, but again, that won't justify the money invested in him. But David Kelly again comes in. He says he'd rather the young lads get a game. Stick 2 fingers up to Desmond as if he watches the game. But yeah, I think he's a Desmond signing, David. I mean, I totally agree with that. Randy, Mandy, where's my briefs? You seem very enthusiastic tonight, pal. Good to have you on the bus. Keep it in the pants, son. Eugene McGeever comes in. Yes, Eugene. Thoughts on VAR coming to the Scottish Premiership next January? Yeah, December, I think it begins. But yeah, I'm nitpicking. But yeah, December it begins. The biggest problem, like Willie Stroker. Is that all you want me to say? Just want me to write your name? You know? Okay. Hello, Willie Stroker. We're all Willie Stroker at some point. We are all Willie Stroker. You know, you said it when you're Lennon. We'll say it about you, pal. Right, but I was reading a decent point there. You're distracting me. Yeah, VAR, Eugene. Now, they've set a huge fuck up already, haven't they? This coming in December, January, whatever it may be, huge disaster is on the horizon. There's going to be talking points that happen in those first, you know, we need to look at it from a Celtic point of view. There is going to be talking points that occur in that first Glasgow derby that are then going to be mirrored or compared in scenarios where VAR stepped in after it is implemented. And you know, it's going to be unfair on one of the sides that, well, that they wouldn't have won that game if VAR had started. How come it's fair that that's managed to make a match-changing situation? You know, you can see the writing on the wall with it. For me, they've either got to invest more money to get it done and ready for the start of the season. They've still not come out and given me, as a fan, I don't feel enough clarity as to what the reasons are for it being unable to commence for the start of next season. It's April right now. We've got 3 months. It's being used in tournaments, you know, in Scotland, Euros, etc. I don't get it. I don't know how this can't be fast-tracked. And if it costs an extra couple of quid to get people to come in and educate us, pay it. If it costs you overtime for these shite referees, who cares? Pay it. Get it in for the start of the season. And if you can't, I really do understand the argument of get it in for next season. I'm not quite sure. Now, a few people are saying no to VAR. Matt McIver, no to VAR. Stephen Thompson, definitely no to VAR. I'm quite intrigued to get the thoughts on that, guys. Why do you not want VAR? Is that an emotional thing about the football? Like in terms of the emotion is removed from moments like goals? Is it because they still don't get enough right? Is it because the people that are running VAR are still going to be as incompetent as the present referees we've got? Because it's going to be them behind the camera and they could have 10 looks at a situation and still get it wrong. What's the reasons for not wanting it? I'm intrigued. Now, Ewan Boy comes in with, I mean, the trouble is 90% of refs and officials are all Celtic fans. Now, there's got to be a lot of that, right? There's got to be a lot of fans, you know, referees that are Rangers fans. I mean, I don't think there's any dispute in that. I'd like to think there's a level of professionalism but that doesn't bias their thoughts. I don't like to go down the bias road as much. I certainly feel the standard is shocking. I certainly feel there has been examples where the conspiracy, if you like, that they are Rangers fans is heightened and the referees don't really help themselves on that, and I can get that. But I don't think that's the trouble. I think the trouble is they're just shite. And I think there's also a status thing creeping in. I think Bobby Madden likes the semi-celebrity status he's maybe got now. I don't know. I don't ever think that, but I do think he enjoyed his involvement in the game. You know, he's enthusiastic, like roll back to the Rangers team. It's meant to be a drop ball right outside Celtic's box. Never really seen anything like that. The halo comes in. Yes to VAR and yes to professional referees, Bhoycie. Full-time professional referees, we've discussed on the bus 3 months ago. It won't happen. They're paid. So the SFA, or whoever it is, the SFA that pays them, have created a rod for their own back, the hell, right? Because see, when you think about it, these guys have a full-time job and then refereeing a game for what, 900 grand a week, part-time earnings? How do you incentivize them doing this full-time? The cost is going to be too much. They're already earning, you know, fucking what, £900 it is a week. What's that? 3,600 a month. Times that by 12. That's their part-time job. What sort of money are you going to pay them full-time to get them to do it full-time and them to walk away from their career? You can't afford to do it. They've created a rod for their own back. Now, John Griffin comes in. Misuse of VAR. Who has the finger on the pulse? Is it a three-man committee? We could end up back in a scenario. I call it the 2018-19 season. I forgot the name of it. What was the compliance officer season? Have you ever heard the forums or all the radio shows talking about a compliance officer so much in your life as the 18-19 season? And it was all about, well, who are these three folk? The retired referees, we'll name them. Who's that woman who's running it? Everything was going back to the compliance officer. Everyone wanted, remember the word, retrospective action taken. That was, but it's still good enough because it never happened at the time. I feel VAR doesn't get it right. It's then going to turn into, well, who was on the VAR? And all of this is all going to just spiral the same way as what I call the compliance officer season of 2018-19. VAR costs 1.2 million for half a season. We can afford 15 plus full-time refs on 100 grand a year for that. Yes, but the issue with that, David, is that won't stop the argument for VAR. That's the thing. Scottish football will be the only league, I believe, in the top 10, top 12, something like that, in the coefficient that wouldn't have VAR. It's not a great look, and I think the optics of it aren't brilliant as a product of Scottish football if we're not keeping up with the times. So I still then think the VAR argument rumbles on. Suddenly you're on far overinflated wages, such as 100 grand a year, by the way, because that's a hell of a lot of money to be paying full-time referees in this country. And then on top of that, you're talking about the VAR would still become a debate, I feel. So you're almost doubling down, if you like, David, there. You wouldn't be able to back down on one or the other. You're going to have both, and I feel that's a hell of a lot of money. Gary McDowell, how many stadiums have the actual big screens to keep fans up to date with the decisions? So true. We have the fourth official just a big yes or P coming up in his substitutes board. I mean, who knows? It'll be very interesting. John Griffin, though, he's saying no, it takes too long. It takes the sting out of the game. We just need our refs to actually apply the rules. Well, I think we're pissing in the wind of the applying of the rules, though, with referees. I think the standard's been poor for a long time. At a talking point for far too many seasons as a standard of referees. So I don't really see that happening. I just think VAR is something that I'm not all for it. I don't enjoy watching the VAR decisions. I've got to be honest. I prefer the excitement at the time, even the decisions that are wrong. I like the contentious points, but I do also believe Scottish football, and I know a lot of people are just Celtic minded and they don't care about Scottish football, whatever, that's fine. But I like, Scottish football continuing to push and expand. And I think if we want to be considered, a club, a country that can produce 2 Champions League teams a year, couple of Conference League, maybe 1 Europa League team in time, and we want to hang in there in that coefficient points, I think we need to be keeping up with the Joneses in that front. And I think we do need to accept that VAR is here for good in football, amongst the bigger leagues. And I think Scottish football should be striving, unfortunately, to keep up with that. Not that I particularly like watching the major leagues, but I don't want us to become a backwater either. We'll do one last talking point. That'll nearly be an hour. This is hard work. Let's do it on your own. I'll definitely have a guest next week. Trust me. What will we talk about next? Gary McDowell comes in. Oh, controversial. Let's do it though. This generation of Celtic fans have been spoiled with success. It's incredible that fans are getting distraught because we will not win another treble. Gary, I don't know how many fans are distraught at us not winning a treble. Maybe there is. Maybe your experience is different than mine, by the way, pal. Fair dues. I've not seen too many distraught or raging that we're not getting a treble. In fact, I think the fact we could potentially be getting a double is incredible this season. I know it's not the real double the Scottish Cup League is to me. That is the double. Do you know what I mean? But it's not a bad double to get. You know, the first trophy of the season and the big one. I think we would all taken that before the start of the season. I do feel that winning trebles, Celtic have almost ruined how amazing a thing that is. You know, they're victims of their own success. We went 30 years without winning one, I think, between Jockstein and Martin O'Neill. You know, I don't think Gordon Strachan won a treble. No, he didn't, did he? Did he? And then Neil Lennon had opportunities initially. Then Ronnie Dyla had opportunities. He was getting pelters effectively for not winning a treble. Then Brendan Rodgers just took it to the next level. 1-2 out the next three. Well, one out the next three, but had Neil Lennon on the road to success for the other two. Lennon completes that. Then Lennon wins his own treble in his own right. Fair play, by the way. We could criticise that all we want, but he did. Strachan did get a treble. What season did he get a treble? I don't think Gordon Strachan did win a treble. I'm positive he didn't. Let's Google it right now, Lanky, because I don't think he did. Did Strachan win a treble? At Celtic. He won 3 titles in a row. I don't think, you know, he didn't. He did. Oh, loads of people are coming in now saying he didn't. David Kelly, Ronnie was robbed of a shot at the treble by the worst decision I've ever seen in decades. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. It was absolutely crazy. I mean, Gallant Pioneer comes in. I know another Rangers fan. He said Celtic had only won 3 trebles in their history before Rodgers came in. That was the thing. You know, it's went from being this elusive thing to the norm. 4 trebles in a row. You know, I think for me, the definition of trophy laden is very much what Celtic's all about as a football club. You know, we've won loads of trophies. Not always all in the same season. I think this year, 23, wonderful achievement. How many trebles did Martin O'Neill win in his 5 years there? 1? Do you know what I mean? And I look back at that team as probably the best team I'll ever see as a Celtic supporter. And I stand by that. I don't think I'll ever see that. Again, that team was just unbelievable on a European level and domestically. Yeah, 1 treble in 5 years. You know? I feel this year, you know, if we can, and, you know, what we need to achieve is, you know, not dropping points in 3 out of 5 games here. It's very realistic we can go on and win this league. We can't count our chickens, all right? We can't just quite do it yet. But believe you me, Celtic winning a league this year, and a League Cup will be fantastic. Do I take the point that it's undervalued a treble? Maybe a wee bit the success Celtic has had. They've been victims of in terms of trebles. I would like to focus though next year, not to be so much on trebles being everything. Yeah, I want to win every competition we enter. Of course I do. But I would love to see next year, you know, the fans being less passive on European exits. Now, we've been assured by so many fans this year that it was all about, going out of Europe was fine because it was all about the league this year. I don't want next year another excuse for failures in Europe. And I don't mean, by the way, winning one of the European competitions. I want progress in Europe, though. I want a European scalp again. I don't know about you, but I'm missing those days where, say we've got, if we do make the Champions League group stages, bring on AC Milan. Let's beat them. Let's not just be happy that they're showing up. Let's beat them. You know what I mean? Like, one of those sort of results, that could do wonders for our confidence in Europe. I really hope that next year, the whole treble thing stops being everyone's focus. Because, can I be honest to you? I think more Celtic fans were gutted on Sunday than what they were at us exiting the Conference League. Now, for me, I disagree. I would much rather be won the League Cup, the League, and the Conference League than the League Cup, the League, and the Scottish Cup. How many Scottish Cups will we see Celtic win the next 30 years? I don't know, 15, 20? How many European trophies will we see Celtic win the next 30 years? Maybe one if I'm lucky, if I'm really, really lucky. So I'm hoping the focus will change again and we don't get too over-consumed by domestic football going forward. Yes, the domestic dominance has been sensational, but now 10 in a row is over. And now that this season we thought it'd go back to maybe a treble again, now that thought's over. Hopefully next year we have a balanced view on it and we don't all cry too much if we exit a League Cup and in a quarterfinals or semi-finals, and don't panic about that, but actually get more upset if we exit, say a Champions League group stage with 0 points and a few 7-0 humpings. I want to get more upset about that next year. That'll show that we're trying to progress as fans and our ambition for Celtic is growing as well. Anyway, I am going to leave it at that. We've been over an hour. Absolutely loved everyone coming in the comments. Thank you so much. We will do T.N.F again next week. I think it's a good way to do it. It's just you guys running the show. I've not, as you'll notice, not put one banner down there with a talking point. I want you guys to bring the conversation to myself. I'll have a guest on next week, maybe a couple, who knows? And that is what we're looking to do going forward. But very much, again, whoever I've got on as a guest won't be driving the conversation. The passengers take over the steering wheel on T.N.F. Without further ado, though, I will say good night. Thanks again to fanboyfootball.com for sponsoring. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It does help massively to get the channel more traction. We've been delighted with how the bus has done so far, to be honest. I think we're over 135,000 views in 84 shows. I don't think that's bad going. But yes, thanks for the continued support. Brilliant effort in the comments tonight. We will see you all very soon tomorrow night. Paul McFarlane. I can't wait to meet you, mate. And we will do the Don't Back Down Double Down show. To everyone else, I'll see you all later. Thanks again.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now. And you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.